Hey up! Right, finally on to fitting the accessories to the Honda GB350S. A lot of people have been complaining that it's taken too long. I'm really sorry about that. I wanted to start with the tank pads, and the temperatures have just been too low for the adhesives. It needs to be consistently above 10 degrees really for this adhesive to be reliable, and we've finally got there today. So I'm going to get on with fitting the Honda genuine tank pads. Now, what I have noticed about these is they're actually made in India, so they're obviously made for the CB series that are available in India at the moment. So it's the same tank, so they're exactly the same accessory. What I'll do first is I'll bring the camera in, have a close look at how these are made. Now, all the tank pads that I've fitted in the past have been from Motorhome Customs, and they tend to use genuine natural rubber, which is solid all the way through. I've noticed with these, they're actually like a honeycomb pattern, presumably to make them lighter and probably to make them a bit more flexible, because the shape of the tank does require them to bend a little bit. That might be why they've done that. It doesn't smell very rubbery, so I'm presuming this is a rubber silicone mix. We do have some staining on the outside, that'll be from the mould and it will clean up, but we're not going to do that until they've been fitted and I'm sure that the adhesive has dried correctly. Now, it comes with the adhesive pre-fitted, as is quite usual with OEM accessories like this. They've used a generic sort of copy of the 3M tape, so it's not going to be quite as good as 3M, although some of them are pretty good nowadays, and I'm sure Honda's picked the right brand to use, so we shouldn't have any problems. I have had a few complaints from people that these have a habit of peeling off, and I think the complaints are mainly down to test bikes that they've seen at the local dealerships. I'm not surprised that probably the reason for that is that the tank wasn't cleaned properly prior to application. I mean, these guys are in a rush, they're just slapping accessories on the demonstrators. If they don't clean the tank thoroughly before application of the adhesive, there is that danger that they won't stick properly. The other thing is, of course, as well, if they've been fitted in the winter, it's maybe been a little bit too cold for the adhesive to attach properly, so that might be part of the problem. I'm hoping that it is, and there isn't another reason for that, and I'm going to discover it. So, what we'll do is we'll make the best job we possibly can of this, and see where we go with it. Now, I'll be using the ever faithful U-Pol fast drying degreasing. I mean, I've had this tin for years. I use it for all sorts of jobs, removing glue, removing grease and oil, and removing waxes, etc. When I'm sticking things onto tanks. And it's an absolute must that you use something like this. It's fast drying. It's naphtha based, so it won't damage any paintwork. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it was just poster paint, it won't damage it. It'll just remove all waxes and greases, and in this case it'll take off the 1 year ceramic coating that I put on the bike last year. You don't need a lot, as you say, it dries instantly, and it's important that you do a thorough job of this. Because if you don't, the end result is that in all likelihood the adhesive won't stick properly. I'm going to do the other side as well. Make sure that you get the whole area well past where you're actually going to be covering it. Now, what I like to do is, once it's dried, get a fresh bit of workshop wipe and do it for a second time, just to make sure that you've removed absolutely everything and that there's no residual waxes or protectants on there that are going to affect adhesion. And I know now that that paint is perfectly clean. And if it comes unstuck, it's not going to be down to the surface not being prepared properly. Right, now going to the instructions. There's a little slip of paper in the package that these comes in, with one of those square things that you scan for the instructions. I thought I'd have a look at the instructions. Unfortunately, it comes up as URL not found, so I couldn't look at the instructions. Initially, I was going to put these on the wrong way around, that way around, because that's generally the way that tank pads go on, but these don't. These are sort of styled on the ones that they had during the 1960s, which go that way around. So you've got your largest surface area here for you need to rub up against, and the rest is just for show, really. Now it's going to be quite easy to fit these because we've got a swage line here, and this is designed specifically for that curve of the tank, so it's going to be very difficult, I think, to get this wrong. We've got a swage line here, so we need to stop just short of that. And I'm actually quite impressed by the way that does exactly just mould around it. So we know pretty much exactly how this is going to go on. You can mark these up with, you know, I've known people use masking tapes or dry markers. By all means do that if you want to do that. I've always just fitted these by eye, and I only ever got it wrong once. But you know, we have got quite an easy job here because, you know, it's designed to match up to that swage line and that swage line there, so it's hard really to get it wrong, and if you do get it in the wrong position, you find it doesn't quite mould perfectly. So I think these are probably going to be the easiest tank pads I've put on, famous last words. So let's get on with it. Now what I'm going to do initially is just remove the backing paper from the top section. So we can really pick that up later on. Initially just hang this in place. And this usually works with the, put my glasses on so I can see properly. This usually works well with the Motone ones. You can just stick it on at the top and virtually just hang it in place. This is a slightly more, I'm doing it again, aren't I? That's the wrong one. It just seems counterintuitive sticking them on this way around. So let's start again. I wonder why it didn't match up properly. Right, so I mean, it does actually, it fits better that way. So yeah, we've got the swage line here. Actually, the way the light's shining on it, it's making it a little bit more difficult to see than I would prefer. So we can just hang that on there. And that's just, you know, I'm not pressing it down hard, it's just enough to hang it in place while I get the other side on, so I can make sure I've got them both in exactly the same place. Right, so we're going to do exactly the same on this side. And you know, the advantage of just hanging it on the top there is that and just pressing it down very, very lightly is you can peel it off if you need to adjust on either side. So the swage line's a little bit easier to see on this side. All that in place, what I need to do now is, right, looking at it from the rear, this one is a little bit further forward than the other one. Height wise, I think we're about right. Yeah, that's actually a little bit further back than this one, but I like the way that looks. Just checking that it all moulds onto it properly. And that we're on the swage line, or just above the swage line. But I'm just looking at it from all angles really, just to make sure one isn't higher than the other. Never quite, because there's nothing more annoying than looking down between your legs and seeing that they're in different places. So I think what I'll actually do is I'm going to move this one back fractionally. As you see, it's easy to peel because we've not stuck it down properly. Line it up on the bottom there. See how that looks. So I'm just fitting these by eye. Yeah, this glue is not very good at all. I'm sorry to say, it's pretty poor compared to 3M. Right, yeah, we've got an issue with this top piece now because it no longer wants to stick to the pad, and it's stretched considerably. It's pretty low quality stuff, is this. Right, I'm going to have a rethink, bear with me. Yeah, this tape is not very good quality. Luckily I do have some proper 3M VHB tape, so I'm able to replace this, but it looks like there's maybe they've not cleaned the surface off properly on the rubber before they've stuck the tape down. It'll have been a, you know, make as many and get them out the door as quick as you can job. And I think that was the issue with it. It just wasn't sticking to the rubber properly, which doesn't bode well for the rest of it. Right, so let's try again. Yeah, the normal method of fitting this, it does compromise that a little bit, but I can only work with what I've got. Right, so I'm still too far back. Yeah, the stuff isn't sticking to the rubber. You see, I think the problem with this, problem with these rubber pads, I don't think they're proper rubber. I think they're a silicone composite. They've got very little rubber smell to them, and stuff just doesn't seem to want to stick to it very well. So just bear with me, I'm going to have to put some more on that. Not doing well here. Right, so I've taken all of the tape off. Oh, I pressed that down too far. I've got that on at a slight angle. Yes, we have. Good. It's not good. This method of sticking this down is very unforgiving. I much prefer the full sheets like we have on the Motor and Customs ones. It allows you more adjustability. This you know, strips of tape really doesn't help you fit it, and I think that's why people are having problems with them. Right, so taking all the backing off that one. I'm really not impressed with the quality of the tape that comes with these. So it's just a matter of lining up properly with that swage line. And then press it all down. This stuff, generally speaking, it reaches sort of 70 to 90% of its bonding strength in about an hour, 2 hours, and then a further, well, a full 24 hours for it to reach full strength. So we'll see how we go with that, just making sure it's not, you know, we've got a good seal all around the edges. Everything seems to have sealed up properly. We've just got to make sure that it stays that way. Right, so I got there in the end. The problem with these compared to ones that I've fitted in the past is you're wrapping them round quite a complicated shape. You know, it dishes in here, it bulges out there. You know, that's reasonably flat, and the bottom's reasonably flat. You've just got to take that swage line into account at the bottom there and use that as a reference on both sides. Also, use this gap here as a reference. Now, you can be as pedantic about it as you like. You know, perfectionism doesn't really work in these situations. Just get it as perfect as you can so that it looks right to the eye. The most important thing for me with these, because you only see one side of the bike at a time, it's impossible to see both sides of the bike side on, is that it looks right here for the height and for the distance to the seat. As you saw, that tape that comes with these isn't that great. What I would do if you're going to fit these yourself is just go on Amazon. I'll see if I can find a link for it. Just go on Amazon and buy yourself some 1 centimetre 3M VHB tape, just in case you need it. It always comes in handy if you don't use it. I mean, we use it all around the house for various jobs. It's brilliant stuff. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. You can see the reason that I had to make a sort of a honeycomb design on the back is so that it is able to wrap around all the contours on the tank. Normally when I've fitted the Moton tank pads in the past, you're fitting it to a fairly flat piece of metal, so you don't have to worry about it having to bend in all different directions. With this, it's specifically designed to mould onto the contours of the tank, which I think that's what sort of threw me out initially. I was expecting it to be just the same as all the ones I've fitted before, when actually it is a slightly different skill set that you need to use, and a few different things that you have to take into account. Now, when you've first done this, if it's summer when you do it, I mean, sod's lot, it's been freezing cold, 3, 4, 5 degrees the last 2 weeks. I've been waiting for the temperatures to come up a little bit in order to be able to do this, because I knew it wouldn't stick properly in the cold. Plus you've got problems with condensation forming on the tank, which is going to mess things up. And then today it's absolutely scorching now. I'm going to have to take this jacket off in a minute. So yeah, I'm happy with the way that's gone on. I've looked at it from all angles. It looks as near as damn it symmetrical on both sides. Decent tank pads. What I'm not going to do, I'm not going to put any polish or anything on the tank for at least a day or two, just to give this adhesive a chance to grab properly and set. The other thing that you need to do for the first couple of hours after you've fitted it, after 2 hours you should be okay. Just go around it and repress it. Just check for any, you know, gaps where it may have lifted away from the tank, and just press them back in. Sometimes it, you know, it just needs a little bit of extra persuasion just to adhere properly. I'm happy with the way this has gone on. It's all fine for the moment. The gaps are all okay. But you just need to keep an eye on it, make sure they stay there for the first couple of hours. After that, you should be good to go. I mean, I would say you can probably ride the bike after a couple of hours once you've fitted these on. Best practice is to wait until the next day, at least leave it overnight for the adhesive to bond properly and cure. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really like these tank pads much when I very first saw them. For a start, they seemed to go on the wrong way around, which completely threw me out. As I say, the instructions from the Honda website wouldn't upload. It just kept telling me the URL not found, so I couldn't refer to their instructions for any advice that would make this easier to fit. I've had to play it by ear as I've gone along. But yeah, I mean, we got there in the end. It maybe took me 10 minutes longer than it normally does. The only problem is with it using those strips. You know, if you do have to resight it with the Moton pads, which unfortunately won't fit this bike, with the Moton pads you've got plenty of sort of playtime to lift it off and reposition it, as long as you don't press it down too hard. With this stuff, you're done. It tends to come away from the rubber as soon as you try to resight it, so bear that in mind. I mean, it might be a job that you want to leave for your dealership to do, but just bear in mind they might not have the proper chemicals. Hopefully they will. They'll be used to doing it now. I suppose this is a skill that they've lost over the last few decades, because nobody had tank pads on the bikes anymore, and you know, something like the GB350 coming along, it's the first time anybody's ever had to do it. So hopefully they've learned by the mistakes now. If it was due to lack of cleaning or fitting them in temperatures that were too low, they've learned now best practices. So, you know, if you're not confident in doing this, get your dealership to do it for you. I'm sure they'll have sussed it out by now. But if you want to do it yourself, like I say, 1 centimetre 3M tape, just have some on standby in case you need it. I mean, this side went on fine, but I just needed to adjust this one a little bit, and that's where it all fell apart really. The tape just came away from the pad, and once that happens, you need new tape on it. So it's just handy having that 1 centimetre 3M VHB tape on standby if you need it. It'll save you a lot of hassle. Right, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I really appreciate it. Hype this video if you've got the hype button available to you, and leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. I'm going to be back next week, so until then, please ride safely in this glorious weather. Long may it hold, and I'll see you soon.